Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Jolene with Joby Star Astrology. Happy Wednesday. I hope everybody is doing well. I wanted to come on today and do a video about an interesting transit that is happening today. And actually, a friend of mine texted me over the weekend and said, gee, I wonder what is going to happen with this grand water trine on Wednesday. And so I started looking at it and studying it. And I thought, well, isn't this interesting? I mean, there are other things going on, obviously, too, that I'll point out. But it doesn't happen very often that we have a grand trine in an element. That's what the trine is element to element. But anyway, it doesn't happen very often that we have a grand water trine, but we have one today. And leading up to this, when I was looking at it on Sunday, I was like, gosh, I wonder if this is going to be a really heavy day emotionally. It could be for some people, but actually it didn't turn out that way for me. So I'm really happy about that. Quiet day, right? But not too heavy emotionally. So I want to share the chart here and talk a little bit about the aspects. And like I said, we have other things going on right now that kind of make this time period really interesting anyway. But we have this grand water trine, which is fraught with emotions and all of these good things, and trines move the energy very, very easily through the cosmos. So that's mixing in with this electric energy that we have. So I'm going to share the chart here and take a look at it with you, kind of break it down, talk a little bit about it. So here we go. Here is the chart. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see. So basically a trine is, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. A trine is an angle here. I'm going to draw it if I can get to my place where I draw. Darn it. Okay. That should work now. A trine is when we have an aspect or a connection between the same elements. And as you can see, there is an exact trine happening today where I'm at in Phoenix, 4:18 p.m. So it's really happening as I'm recording this video right now. We have the moon at 7 degrees of Scorpio, the sun at 7 degrees of Cancer, and Saturn at 7 degrees of Pisces and retrograde. And Saturn has been at 7 degrees of Pisces. But this is a lot of water. So, I mean, we could say that, this could be a moody and emotional time for a lot of folks, and it could be, but it doesn't have to be. It could be very quiet and contemplative, meditative, and in some ways kind of serene. The water is just kind of flowing through us. I'll talk a little bit about what could happen, what we could see out there in the world combined with some of the other aspects. But from an individual standpoint, this is just this grand water trine is something that is just going to have a lot of emotions and feeling running through us. So with the sun in Cancer, this is all about, our home and our family and our security, our emotions, what we need to feel secure. It can be about reminiscing things from the past, right? And the moon there in Scorpio at 7 degrees, we know that Scorpio represents things that are hidden, and it represents transformation, and it can represent death and all of the things that Scorpio represents, sex, things like that, money. And then we have Saturn at 7 degrees of Pisces, where we're all doing some work with Saturn, and experiencing a lot of feelings regarding, the collective in general, the collective unconscious, and, feelings and emotions and what's going on. So this grand trine is probably having most of us sort of feeling things from the past. And what's interesting, that was a terrible connection, drawing connection, but we also have a kite formation going on here in this chart too, where the apex of this grand trine is Jupiter in Taurus. And Jupiter in Taurus, ruled by Venus, is, about our vision and growth and optimism. And it can be about things like indulgence, overdoing things, or just something that we want for to help us feel peaceful and secure. So we have the moon opposite Jupiter here, and the moon in Scorpio conjunct the south node in Scorpio can be bringing up memories and feelings from the past. South node in Scorpio, and Pluto rules Scorpio, and Pluto has retrograded back into Capricorn. And so this is a time where we could be thinking about the past, about something could be coming up that, is being brought to our attention from the past. We could be finding something or working with something to transform it. That degree of Capricorn, where Pluto is sitting, is about things that we may not know that are going on behind the scenes. And the retrograde, which I talked a little bit about in another video, of Pluto back into the sign of Capricorn, is obviously having us go back and take a look. And this Pluto here is squaring the nodes where the moon in Scorpio is. So this is reworking something or transforming or letting something go from the past that may be keeping us from moving forward. So we could have a lot of feelings and emotions right now about things that have gone on in the past. We also have Mars that rules the south node in Scorpio as well, and there's a sextile there. So Mars is in Leo, as you can see there, conjunct Venus and Lilith in the sign of Leo, and Venus is going to have a retrograde in Leo. So Venus is halfway through her transit here before she turns around and goes back. She will go retrograde on July 22nd at 28 degrees of Leo, and then backtrack to about 12 degrees. So Venus is really working towards, getting something that she wants, and she's looking for something. And Mars is there conjunct, which rules the south node, and the moon there in Scorpio, which is part of this grand water trine. So we may really have a desire or a need to take some action and actually go after what we want based on whatever these feelings are, what it is that's coming up from the past emotionally, or what we're trying to uncover. Scorpio. So the north node here, where Jupiter sits, is ruled by Venus. So we have Venus and Mars that are the rulers of Jupiter in the north node and the moon in the south node, again in Leo. So this is about going after what we want in some way. And a lot of things here could happen. We also have Mars and Venus that are squaring Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And this could be sudden moves, could be impulsive, it could be eruptions in relationships, could be changes in finances. I think it's important here that we, think about what we're doing before we actually do it. But at the same time, if there's something that we're emotionally processing or that's coming up for us from the past, this might give us the courage, because Leo is about being brave and having courage and, doing what it is that you really feel passionate about. Having having Mars, Venus, and Lilith, which sometimes can represent, our deepest internal passions. Sometimes it can be things that are taboo, a little bit of obsessive. Squaring this Uranus in the sign of Taurus could actually give us the courage to make a break that needs to be made, or make a move that needs to be made that will hopefully help us grow towards building the life that we want, something more peaceful, something more comfortable. I think the challenge here is making sure that we don't overdo it. These feelings could be very, very intense, and with the push here from Mars and Venus to Uranus, we could move a little bit suddenly if we're inclined to do that, or if we're feeling, internally feeling sort of a fire going on there. So it could be good. This could be a good time when feelings are coming up and memories are coming up and things that we might feel we have left undone, things we could be sad about or that we want to fix or make right in with Saturn and Pisces, right? This could be the push that we need to actually help us move forward into the future, right? Our future vision, which is represented by Uranus, which is, progression and the future. And Jupiter in Taurus can be our vision and our hope and our our journey, what it is that we want, and of course our beliefs. And so this could be a time where we have the courage and the ability and the confidence, Leo, to move forward and make a move towards something that we need to clean up emotionally in our lives. Now, if we're moving a little bit too impulsively, we probably want to be careful. Like, let's say it's a relationship issue, Venus is involved here. The moon in Scorpio has a hard time letting go of past emotions. So chances are, especially with the moon, Saturn, and the sun sitting at 7 degrees, which is a Libra degree for relationships, if we move too suddenly and just out of impulse because we want something, we want to break free from something, we could fracture, for instance, a relationship that we're in and then regret it later because Venus will be going retrograde. So those are things you want to be careful not to do too suddenly or do something too rash that can be destructive to our lives. But North Node conjunct Jupiter, ruled by Venus, says we are moving towards something that is going to help us grow into the future, whether that's financially or it has something to do with relationship. Now, like I said, that the 7 degrees, the water trine being at 7 degrees indicates to me that at this point, it does have something to do with relationships. Now, Mercury has not quite caught up to the sun, but is within 3 degrees. So there's a conjunction. So this can be a thought or a communication, memories in the sign of Cancer. Mercury will move towards the sun and conjunct that in a cazimi very soon. And we might either have that information revealed, if there's a conversation that needs to be had, it might happen. There could be some kind of connection there that has something to do with these emotions and memories that are coming up for us. So this could be a very interesting time. Now, in the world, important. I mean, things could come up, things that were lost could be found. We also want to be careful. I will go back and say, be careful that um, excesses that we are balancing that internal drive that we have with the moon, conjunct the South Node with the moon in Scorpio, to not, definitely being safe and not overdoing it, overindulging in, food or alcohol or drugs or, something like that that could actually cause a disaster. I should have said that a little bit more, um, with a little bit more emphasis. But anyway, in the world, we could actually see things that are beneath the surface, that are uncovered and found. Very large things, very important things. It's funny when this person, my friend Courtney, by the way, thank you, Courtney, mentioned this. I was thinking to myself, and I didn't say it to her, but I was like, I wonder if they find the submarine that was lost, that was down exploring the Titanic. And I thought, gosh, that's just too far fetched because it's at the bottom of the ocean and that's like not going to happen. Well, look, it happened today, right? They pulled up part of that submarine. So that was crazy intense. That did happen today. But we want to be really careful of accidents and things like that. I mean, we know it's summer, it's very, very hot. Mars and Venus square Uranus, with Jupiter conjunct the North Node, Taurus, the land. We could see fires. We have one here in Arizona. Scottsdale is on fire and it's grown to like 2,500 to 3,000 acres since it started last night. Very careful in traffic. This could be traffic accidents, that, things obviously that are very disruptive, and there can be a lot of injuries. And with Jupiter there in Taurus, that's big things, really big things. Probably also want to be pretty careful around water. This grand trine with the Mars Venus square Uranus, and the opposition to Jupiter and Taurus, be careful around water in boats. This could be storms. This could be storms that include things, extreme heat or destruction. So we could see things like that out there in the world. But this is a very interesting day. This trine will, obviously move on. The moon is going to move on, and the trine will obviously dissipate as the day goes by. But we still will have a trine from Saturn to the sun for the next few days. Mercury will hit the sun in Cancer, so we might get more information on whatever is coming up for us. And Venus and Mars Venus and Mars are never going to actually conjunct, I don't believe, before Mars moves into Virgo, but Venus in its retrograde is going to go back and forth. She's already squared Jupiter once, so this is, very big moves when it comes to finances, potentially, and relationships, grand gestures, maybe a lot of money being spent. And she is now squaring Uranus again, like I said, which could be breakups in relationships or sudden meetings, that where relationships start, or accidents, extreme heat, things like that. But Venus is going to go back and forth, and she will actually square Jupiter again, 2 more times before her retrograde ends, and she will square Uranus 2 more times before her retrograde ends, in the beginning of September. So pay attention to what's going on for you today, and kind of, chronicle that and keep it in your memory bank to see if there are some similar things going on with Venus going retrograde. We could have returns of past romantic partners. We could start new relationships. We probably want to be really careful about going all in on something like that during a Venus retrograde, because it could come in and then go back out. But definitely a time where things can be learned about relationships and love, and how we how we handle those things in our lives. But this retrograde should be very, very interesting between now and September 4th. So, tread lightly, know what you want, try and stick to the growth of whatever it is that you're trying to put together in your life, and maintain some practicality there. But this retrograde should be very interesting, as Venus squares Uranus and squares Jupiter multiple times between now and September. So it looks like it's going to be a very interesting financial and relational summer of ups and downs, while Venus is retrograding in the sign of Leo. So I wanted to point out, after studying this grand trine, what this might be bringing up for everybody, and what we might see in the world a little bit, and then talk a little bit about the Venus retrograde, because that does come into play. Like I said, they're the rulers of the North and the South node, and of the Moon and Jupiter and Uranus, that are being aspected today. So very interesting. Let me know in the comments how you're feeling. Is this a moody, emotional day for you, or are you feeling a little bit calm and serene and able to get some clarity? Moon trine Saturn could give us a little bit of emotional clarity, and peace. We could be feeling a little bit of peace and comfort. Or we could, it just depends on what's going on in your life and in your chart. So I wanted to come on and talk about that, and let me know in the comments how you're feeling, what's going on in your life. I hope everybody is doing well. While Saturn is in Pisces, I think it's really important for all of us to reach out and check on one another, as much as we can, to get each other through this time, because it is a little bit confusing and uncertain right now for a lot of us. So anyway, thank you for coming and watching, and I appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind liking, subscribing, and sharing the video, that will help me as I grow the channel. Very much appreciate that. And I will see you for the next video. I'm going to do a video on the full moon in Capricorn, which is coming up on July the 3rd. So keep an eye out for that in the next few days. Until then, may the stars forever be in your favor. Take good care, and I will see you soon.